Hello everyone and welcome to the SOR F1 2019 League here, around 19 at USA. One of my favorite tracks on the calendar. I just really adore the twists and turns and all the likes. So the championship's already won. Ruthful isn't here today, but Yasin is, and we'll have to see what he can do, considering he finished in second place. So if he can get his seal his second place, that would be good for him. So the optimal strategy here on this track at Coda would be the softs to mediums. You can last the softs around lap 10, 11, but usually the pit window opens around lap 8, 11, and then go mediums until the end. Right, we'll go on board with Yasin for this lap, and heading up into turn 1, you want to keep it in 8th gear, and just as that black marker board goes by, you want to gear down to first gear on apex. But he doesn't quite do that. He thinks he has more traction on second gear. Here you want to turn in just as the billboard at the top goes out. You want to keep the nice and tight line, which he misses the apex on the second S. Here, brake just as that green goes, and here you want to ride the curb as much as possible and use a lot of curb on the inside, but keep it limited on the outside, as it will cost you your lap. Here, braking just in between the 150 meter board, heading it down for a long straight. You want to get the best traction possible, but he doesn't really get that. So the current time to beat is a 132.7, which is a pretty quick lap set by Fox. No doubt that will be beaten, yes, by 32.2 by the GC Fungus in the Mercedes. Heading through here, you want to keep it nice and tight, and just as the halfway point of that building to the left goes out, that's your turning in point. Here, keep it nice and tight, but Yasin's really struggling on traction, it seems, today. Here, go into second gear, maybe first just get that extra rotation. Currently there's a Red Bull in front. Will he block him? I don't know. He's currently in the middle, and they touch, and that's Hazy, who completely screwed over Yasin there. And that's all on video, so Yasin, if you're watching this, don't worry, got you covered. It's very unfortunate. Hazy was just slotted himself right in the middle of the track, really, but then again, Yasin did go a bit wide, which did cost him, all in all. But Panikoi is on a lap, so we'll stay on board with him. Actually, before that, Almighty is rounding up the final corner now. He said a 101.5, and it seems to be a late 131, maybe? Yes, it's a 131.9, and wow, actually, with a 131.4, but this guy's like esports material, so we're not going to count him in the mix. So we'll watch on board with Pandakoi as he slithers his way up the S's. Seems to be a pretty tidy lap from him so far. No real mistake. But then again, I didn't really see the first S's. He uses quite a lot of curb there, which is good to see. But he is not... He's a second slower as things stand in the second sector alone. Going through here, he takes it quite wide to cut back in and stomp on the power as soon as you can. Maybe yellow's in sector 3. That's the Haas there of KK Hunter getting out the way. And we only have a 12-man grid, so it is very possible that we'll only get under 10 runners today. But as Panikoi crosses the line, it's enough to put him in a provisional P8 with a 133.5. Anyone who's on the lap, Yasin's getting ready to go out. I just heard the engine revs, and Hazy's on out lap. So that's everyone with a lap. I believe Almighty's on one now. No, he's 8 seconds slower. Otherwise, everyone's in the pits. It is just Hazy. He's on an out lap. So F1 2020 beta testers got their keys today. Sadly, I didn't get mine. And I do know someone who's never played F1 in their life before. He's gotten a key. Very disappointing, to say the least. And might not be the best kind of feedback you'll get, but who knows. Anyways, I'm very excited for F1 2020. More excited than I was for F1 2019. F1 2020, by the YouTuber standards, say that the traction is a lot like medium traction control, but of course you can't stomp on the power on the exits. You will get too much wheel spin. So I'd say they took traction control and maybe halved it, or no traction control and halved it, maybe to make it resemble medium. But yeah, definitely if I'm league racing in F1 2020, I'll definitely want to pick the Red Bull. It just sounds amazing and it looks amazing as well. The Mercedes we have yet to see really, so who knows. But as we'll go on board with Hazy, or Hazy, sorry. He's the only medium runner, so he might be starting at the back of the grid. But we'll have to see what he can do. Usually on the mediums you could be able to do a late 133, early 134. But who knows, maybe Hazy might be able to surprise us. I do know that the first sector split is a late 124. He said a late 125. So already a second off almost there, heading through the first sector. But then again, the first sector was mainly due to as much downforce as you get. Once Hazy is finished with his lap, we'll go on board with Wow, who's starting a lap now. It's just that since he's the medium runner, we want to give the others a slight idea, I guess, of what's to come. He doesn't use a lot of curb there, which can help him in some cases, but won't help much in others. But hey, who am I to judge? Maples rejoin. Alright, so going through the very fast right-hander, he goes out wide actually, and turns in quite nicely there. It's very difficult to spot the braking points and also the turning in point. But Hazy crosses the line now to put him in provisional P7 with a 133.2. That's a great time on those mediums. He's faster than half of the grid at the moment on the softs. I say half of the grid, but you know, almost half of the grid. So wow, I do believe he is on a pad. That I'm not sure. No, he's definitely not. I honestly couldn't tell. But if he is on a pad, that would explain why he is quick. Because pad hacks here at USA is quite OP, but I do believe he's using the wheel. By looks of things, he's getting precise turning, but then again, you can get down with the controller, so I don't know. But he's going out very wide there. That could invalidate his lap. No, he's chosen to continue. I don't think it'll be an improvement on his time. Never mind, he improved by 1.5 tenths of a second. Someone who is on a lap now. I'm trying to find someone who's on a lap. No one's on a lap. Oh, Eddie is finishing his lap. He's 8 tenths quicker than his first lap. There will be a late 132. He comes across the line. Provisional P3 with a 132.0. It's a mega lap there. Considering your first time was a 133.9. So good stuff from Addy. See the two Merc boys locking up the second row. That will put pressure on Almighty and Wow. Yeah, it was a sector 3. Let's see, someone who's on lap. I believe Fox is on lap. He's in overtake, but he's only used 15% of his energy, so I don't think, no, he's not on lap. Maple's on the out lap. We'll go with him once he starts it. No one's... Oh, Yasin's actually on a lap. The only man who has yet to set a time here at Kota. He breaks very late, revving that Ferrari engine we all deeply love. It's one thing I don't like about the Ferraris, that practice with McLaren, or not the McLaren, with the Mercedes, you're so used to the revs when you gear up, and then you put in the Mercedes and it's very loud, and when you gear down too quickly it just kills your ears. Right, Yasin's getting a bit of deja vu here. Panakoy is in the way, and he's gone out of the way. Yasin seems to be a pretty clean lap, comes across the line for provisional pole position with a 131.1. I could definitely see a late 130 coming out of one of these two drivers, 100%. I don't know if it's raining this race, so we'll have to find out. Oh yeah, Maple was on an out lap. Maple is on the lap now. He's going an overtake in the first sector. That's something I haven't seen before. He could be doing that just to get the extra speed throughout the track, but it will deplete his ERS much quicker. So he might use hot lap on the straight. I don't know. No, he's staying in overtake. Yeah, definitely ERS usage, but that doesn't really matter anymore because the next game in a couple months' time, a completely revamped ERS system where it's mapped to each track. It's not like auto ERS at all. Each driver has the exact same ERS deployment rate at each single corner, each single millimeter. You know, heading down the straight, it's there's only 3 ERS modes. There's one which is recharging, or you know, in a corner. 2 is when you're going medium, basically. It's like high, and then 3 is overtake, where that is up to you to deploy. And Maple puts himself into P5 with a 1:32.1. Good lap. Very good lap. Someone who's in it is on a lap. That's like, Almighty is on a lap. So as I was saying about ERS, if you aren't aware, as I said, those are 3 modes, but with the overtake button, there will be a green bar, and that bar will deplete twice as quickly than if you didn't have overtake. It's a bit like DRS, except you control when it opens and closes. The more you use it, the less energy you'll have, and the quicker it depletes, obviously. And then the more you use it at once, well, the more laps you'll have to do recharging to get overtake. So for me, I personally think I'll only use overtake when I'm close behind someone on a straight and I want to get the move done in the next corner, or when I have DRS and slipstream. And that Almighty improves his time, but it's only enough to improve to keep himself at P3. So yeah, for the overtake button, it will definitely be strategic to see when people. Oh, the GC Fungus exploring a bit of track limits there. Going across the line now, it is P5. Improves by just 1 position. Well, I was actually the fifth session. But yeah, overtake definitely, I feel like, will be more strategic than what we currently have now. Because if you use it too much, you'll basically be the slowest car on track, and if you use it well, then you'll have a good chance of catching up the car ahead. Yeah, like, I haven't tried it yet, but I've seen, well, I've heard what YouTubers have talked about it, and I think with the likes of that, the only way I'll be using it is, as I said, if I'm using a slipstream or DRS, and the guy in front doesn't have slipstream or DRS and he's slow, I'll just use overtake to get an easy overtake. Or even if he has slipstream and DRS, I'll just use it. Basically, in the straight, you're going to want to use it, I'd say. I don't really see any reason for you to turn it on in corners, but then again, it's not really a overtake like the current overtake button we have now, where it makes you faster on straights. It's an overtake button which gives you max power. It's basically giving you hot lap. So it'll be interesting to see how we use that. I'll probably only use it for straights or when I want to make a charge on someone. But as much as I'm excited for it, I feel like I'm one of the low majority of people that actually are disappointed to see ERS go, because I've gotten used to this whole ERS mechanism, and I'm sure many league racers have. It's not that it's easy to learn, but it's difficult to master. Definitely have to know when and how to use it, etc. for each track. But mainly, if it's twisty corners, you want to go in high. If it's a section of corners that are not that twisty, but you know, you can easily do, just slot it in hot lap, and on the straight, we'll put it in overtake. It's really not that difficult, but hey, we'll have to see. F1 2020 is releasing July 10th, but July 7th for those who ordered the deluxe version, and we'll get it 3 days earlier, like myself. So Yas is on an outlap now. WoW hasn't actually rejoined this session. Or, I don't know if I have him on my friends list. Oh, I do. Let me invite him back. Invite the lobby. Oh, he's rejoined. Okay, so I don't know if he'll be able to. No, he's definitely not able to go back out to improve. So Yasin now in provisional P1. He'll be looking to extend his P1. Everyone's on an outlap. Currently right now the Inaudible Gamer is about to cross the line now, so stay on board with him. And then as he crosses the line, we'll have to see everyone slowly but surely crossing the line to try to sneak themselves into pole position. Now on this track, pole position really, I don't think is the best of positions to be in. I think you want to be towards the mid-pack and try and slot them out one by one, because it's very easy to get track extended warnings, as the Inaudible Gamer is already at 5/10 through the first sector, which means currently as it stands, it'll be a 1:32.7, putting him in provisional P8. There's definitely more time to be gained, knowing the Inaudible Gamer. He almost won last week. He came a second shy, so he'll want to redeem himself today. We'll have to see if he does that or not. But he's a pretty quick guy. Definitely think he'll be able to do it. Alright, so I didn't see his second sector split time. I was too busy looking at the car. Going through the final set of corners now. Will he be able to sneak himself onto P1? It seems like it'll be a late or an early, even a late 1:31 at this rate. Coming across the line, it's enough for P3 with a 1:31.4. Great time there from the Inaudible Gamer. Next man to cross the line will be Panikoi, and then I need to quickly transition to Addy. So he crosses the line. He's completely out of ERS. And we'll go on board with Addy. He puts himself into P10. Addy, will he be able to sneak himself on pole position? No. Next man to cross the line is Maple. Will he be able to get pole position? No, he stays in P7. The next member is Fox. He puts himself into P8. There's a hash driver, Kiki Hunter, who's going through the line now. And Yasin goes back into the pit. So unless if Hazy can improve from his medium compound time to sneak himself onto pole position, which he does not. He doesn't, but he goes P8. So that is your starting grid. Yasin and Wow lock up the first grid. The first grid. And then SOR, the Inaudible Gamer, alongside Futuristic, who's actually put himself into P4. Good lad. The Inaudible Gamer and Futuristic second row. Almighty Addy on the fourth. GC Fungus Maple fifth. Hazy Kiki Hunter, I believe, on 5th. I'm not too sure. We'll have to see. Right, so with 12 people, let's see what we get. So we have GC Fungus Maple on the 4th row. Yeah, on the 4th row. Hazy and Fox on the 5th. And Panikoi Kiki Hunter on the 6th. So the pack all within of a second of each other in the top 10, but then the bottom two sadly didn't manage to make it happen for a whole grid within a second. But the top three seem to be very close, only 2.6 seconds, or sorry, 2/10 shy of each other, just under 3/10. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens. The USA always has pretty interesting tracks. So, unless if we get a bunch of safety cars. Right, here we go for the formation lap. As it's lights out, and away we go for the formation lap. So, right. Yasin on pole position, in a place we don't see him that often. He's definitely on the first row often, but it's definitely not for P1. It's mainly for P2 with his rival Ruthful in front of him. But he's managed to sneak himself into P1 after WoW crashed. But WoW maybe could have improved. He only needed 2 attempts to improve. But race pace is always different from quality pace for every driver. It could either be quicker or slower. It's never really the same. So yeah, we'll have to see exactly what happens. But Luca's managed to saw himself in to P13. So we have a full Renault grid, I guess. And Luca's already left the session. So a good game. Oh yeah, I should probably add all of this. Put the tires. So everyone's on the softs except for Luca, who's on the mediums. There we go. Right, so as everyone lines up here, it's the United States Grand Prix. It's race day. It's the United States Grand Prix. Okay. Had to say it eventually. So as everyone lines up now, get their engines revving. And I believe that's everyone who's lined up. So unless we get a poor camera angle, this is what we're going to have to stay in. So as we have 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. It's lights out and away we go. And Yasin's actually caught sleeping. WoW has managed to get... Oh no, never mind. Yasin's actually got a better start as we all head in to turn 1. That's a Mercedes boy of GC Fungus who's gone around the outside of multiple cars. Almighty, who's got a shocker of a start, finds himself in last place. It seems to be pretty clean. Oh, there's some side-by-side action going towards the back, and that's Luca who's spun out. And or not Luca, that's KK Hunter actually, who spun out, and there was no space given. Well, there was plenty of space given. They were just side by side for a while, but Yasin and WoW managed to stay clear as there's a move down at the back. Maple going down the inside of Hazy. Does he get the move done? He's the car ahead, but they're still side by side heading down the straight. But yeah, and Futuristic definitely has the quicker straight line speed, but thanks to the power of Slipstream in this video game, he'll be able to go pull off to the side and goes down the inside. They do touch a bit and they push his Futuristic wide, but that's allowed Hazy actually to catch up a bit, and Futuristic is completely all over the place. Will he be looking to go down the inside? No, but the two at the back here, the Red Bull of Hazy and Addy, they're going at it heading into the third sector. Oh, Hazy gets it all wrong, and so does Futuristic. Comes back on track. Luckily does not hit anyone, but Addy has completely lost control of his car and has gone into a semi-spin. Luckily he did not hit the wall, so he's able to continue. His tires will be a bit cooked now, as they do say. If we can get a better camera angle, please. These two drivers are going side by side. Oh, Futuristic with, or not Futuristic, Panic Boy with a big dive there on Fox, but it looks like Fox is the car ahead for the S's, unless if they, oh, they both touch, and that's allowed Panic Boy to go ahead there of that battle. Panic Boy definitely wasn't giving up his place. It's a hard but fair racing, I guess, in a way. So we'll go up the front. Wow, it's 3/10 to Yasin, but thanks to DRS, Yasin will be able to cool down this lap. But the Inaudible Gamer is very much in contention. He's a 10th within these three guys, so he'll definitely want to be able to get something done. Going further back the field, ooh, there once again Fox and Panicoy going at it. They definitely don't seem to like each other today, as they're battling out for P8. Panicoy is forced the long way around, but trying and get a switchback, and does get the switchback, but Fox closes it up. Will he go for a dive down the inside? Yes, he was, but completely pushes Fox wide there. There was no space given, but really, Fox couldn't really do much about it. He does have the inside line for the next long right-hander, and Panakoi completely gets it all wrong there. So he's forced out wide. We'll go closer to the front. Fox actually gets a 3-second time penalty, and Wow sets the fastest lap. So he's definitely quicker on track than Yasin. So now it's just a moment, and now it's just a case of who can use DRS to their advantage. But currently, the Inaudible Gamer is not within DRS of these guys. So if things stand at the DRS straight, the top two will be able to potentially DRS train each other until the end of this race, and if that is the case, we won't see much else when it comes to action at the front. But the Inaudible Gamer falls short out of the DRS, meaning that Yasin and Wow will be able to slipstream each other. But there seems to be an incident at the back. We'll go to that in just a second, but currently right now we're going aboard with Wow, who has slipstream, who has DRS, who has overtake. Yasin defends down the inside, but could really only see his hopes of P1 going around the outside of him actually. But now Wow has the inside line heading into this tight right-hander, but tables have turned once again. Yasin has the inside line for this tight left-hander, and there's actually Panakoi who's spun at the back. But Yasin's managed to defend his position quite well. So really, we've seen in that second sector, or in that, the end of the second sector, heading into sector 3, you want to be the guy on the inside line after the straight, because if you're still remaining side by side, you have the inside line for the final corner before it becomes almost impossible. So once again, Wow does have the DRS and is almost pushing him around this track. The Inaudible Gamer 1.5 seconds away. So these two have, thanks to the use of DRS training, have managed to gain 3/10 on the rest. But really, Wow, as you can see, he's pushing Yasin around this track almost. And the Inaudible Gamer gets his first penalty for corner cutting. That definitely won't be the last corner cutting penalty you'll see around this track. Yasin does seem to get better traction out of some corners, but through here we've seen him in qualifying really struggle to get on the power early. Does he manage to do that? He does it perfectly, and if there was no DRS, Yasin would definitely be clear. But since DRS is kind of OP in this game, Yasin will defend once again. Wow breaks early, tries to go for the switch back, but really no room is given. He'll try and go down the inside again for a nice other switchback, but it doesn't seem to stick. Wow looks to the inside, cuts the corner. That's definitely going to be a warning for him, but we'll go further back the field. Are there any side-by-side? There's no side-by-side action towards the back, but two people that are very close is the two sister teams there, Red Bull of Hazy and Futuristic on the Toro Rosso. Futuristic doesn't really seem to get gripped too much with that corner. He does like to go pretty wide. We'll go back towards the front here as Wow and Yasin with slipstream DRS. Will he go for a move down the inside? Yasin actually puts his car in the middle of the track, goes semi-defensive, and the Inaudible Gamer 2 seconds behind. So really, it's not helping the Inaudible Gamer at all when it comes to catching up to these guys. As things stand, it's quite impossible because, well, these two are DRS training each other, and the other two don't have DRS, and GC Fungus isn't able to make anything of it either because he's 1.4 seconds behind the Inaudible Gamer, and really everyone behind is a second apart, meaning that no one can really close up. It's just on raw pace. But since these two are quick, have slipstream, ERS, DRS, fuel mix, it's really impossible for these two to get caught up as things stand. But Eddie does get a 3-second time penalty. Yasin sees Wow getting closer and closer. He goes semi-defensive once again, and Wow isn't really able to make anything of it. Yasin strategically placing his car in the middle, giving Wow no opportunity to go through the inside or outside. So definitely an interesting battle nonetheless. Wow breaks really late there, cuts the corner and gets a 3-second time penalty, meaning that if the checkered flag will be this lap, Yasin is winning the race. So will we see Yasin winning this race? Who knows? He hasn't picked up a penalty yet. At least I don't think. But thanks to the Inaudible Gamer, I believe it was, he pointed out that I can simply just click, press, check, rather than having to scroll down. I'll definitely be using that a lot this race. Ooh, there are two side-by-side actions here. There's Luca and Panakoi going side-by-side at the penultimate corner. Futuristic does have the inside line, but locks up, meaning he'll have to go wide. And no space given there for Luca heading out that corner, but should easily get the move done, unless if Panakoi breaks late. He breaks super late going into that corner, and Luca gets a switchback, and so does Addy. Well, actually, he doesn't get the move done. He is very close, and Luca says thank you, bye-bye, will take advantage. But Panakoi completely cutting that corner. That's definitely a warning if I haven't seen one, or even a time penalty. But the game decides about no. Eddie losing the back end there quite completely. But it seems like at the front, WoW is starting to fall behind. Almost taps the back of Yasin. That would have sent Yasin into a spin, 100%. Going further back down the grid here, we have Addy, who's actually quite close to Panakoi, and it's definitely close enough to think of a lunge, but chooses not to, which is a smart idea. Gives Panakoi a little luff tap, and I don't know if that's any wing damage. No, that might be enough just for very, very light green damage. We can see there's a little scratch on his front wing, but that definitely won't be enough for any performance issues. Actually, his left end plate is a bit mushed in. It could be dark green for all I know, but we'll have to find out. So WoW has actually managed to catch up a bit. By a bit, I mean 2/10. So Yasin seems to be doing good on his old softs. The pit window, I don't know, would be open this lap. WoW gets another 3-second time penalty. Yes, 6 seconds worth of time penalties, and Yasin doesn't even have one yet. Let me see real quick. He only has one warning, so right now he's looking very good for this race. Yes, and now he needs to get 6 seconds worth of time penalties to be evenly paced in between these two, and with only lap 7, if he keeps getting 6 seconds every 7 laps, he will have just over 20 seconds of time penalties, meaning that well, WoW's chances are winning are looking very slim now. Yasin needs to get 9 seconds worth of time penalties if he wants to fall under the disadvantage. Since WoW, after 7 laps, has already got 6. He's definitely, I'm not saying he's a bad driver, but he'll definitely get more if he continues on. But Panakoi has gone into a spin and has lost his front wing entirely. Gone, completely gone. We have a virtual safety car, actually. So will these soft runners use this chance to pit? Honestly, I would now. Because the mediums could easily make it to the end, and really it's a free pit stop, so you'd be silly not to box now. Yasin goes into the pits, and WoW follows, but cuts the corner, and he's holding WoW up actually, which is smart of him. But Yasin might actually get held up in the pits here a bit, unless if he's very lucky and gets in front. He gets in front, but that means WoW will get held up. No, not even. Okay, that was very lucky from both of them. So Yasin will come out just as the VSC ends. And both of the two leaders come out just as VSC ends. So they really got a free pit stop. And yeah, there you go. So that was the top 3 there should have boxed, I'd say, because they really got a free pit stop. And look at them. They're only 5 seconds behind old soft runners. So top 3 should have boxed, in my opinion. But hey, we'll have to see on these cool tires. Definitely the S's isn't really the best of places to be, especially when you're trying to warm them up. We have yellows in sector 3. Who's that? That's a Toro Rosso who's slammed himself into the wall, I do believe, and is retired. We have yellows in sector. Oh, that's Addy who's spun. Oh, what has happened? Has he spun completely into the wall, or has he spun and decided to end his race? No, he spun into the wall, but it's not enough to cause a safety car, though. Don't want to jinx myself. No, it's definitely not enough to cause a safety car. So we have 3 people out, really. Almighty has done a DC. So now wherever you finish in the race, you finish in the points. So I guess that's a plus for the drivers. Kiki Hunter on the hards, who's up to go to the hards. So really now he's hoping there's a safety car somewhere so he can attempt to catch up. But really, the only action from close range cars right now are these two, Yasin and Wow, who are in a net P1, P2. But as things stand, Yasin will easily come across the line to win the United States Grand Prix, unless if Wow is able to overtake him now and extend the gap to 6 seconds. Unless if Wow, or not Wow, if Yasin has a time penalty. Yasin doesn't even have a second warning, so it's looking very, very bad for Wow now as things stand. But these two are coming close to traffic now. So really right now, Wow is praying he doesn't get DRS off the back of Futuristic, because if he does, his chances of overtaking him are going to be even less of an option. But he's 1.4 seconds, so he won't have the DRS on him now. But Wow is definitely very close. Oh, he's closest than he's ever been at the back straight. He should easily get the overtake done before the corner has even started. Oh yes, and again getting a bit of RG-bargy action going on. And Wow is able to slot himself into net P1, but Yasin's actually challenging around the inside. He will have the inside line heading into this right-hander. Brakes much later, squeezes Wow out, no space given in between, but Wow will look to the inside and goes down the inside, and they do make slight contact, and Wow almost loses the back end there. I really thought that would have been Wow's race over, but now Yasin is in the dirty air. Futuristic and is basically doing a copy-paste of what Futuristic is doing, and these two are going side by side heading into the far right hander, and the Anonymous Gamer has gotten the move done. Yasin does have DRS now, so Wow will have to abuse Slipstream as much as he can now, because really it doesn't look like much is going on. But Wow dives to the inside, locks up. Will Yasin be able to hold it around the outside? No, he won't. So that means Wow gets in front and will have the DRS on the back of Maple, who's in net P2 now. Wow gets a 9 seconds, another 3 seconds. I thought it means he has 9 seconds worth of time penalties, and I do believe Yasin only has only a little scratch. Wow has dug himself down to the gut right now with the amount of scratches he's had. 9 seconds. That means I think Yasin should easily win this race, but then again, don't count your chickens just yet. Who knows? But Yasin really needs to get in front of Maple now if he wants any chances of staying with Wow. Really, I don't see why Maple should be battling this too much. These two are going to be a pit stop ahead of them now, thanks to VSC. But really, right now, these sophomores are hoping for a safety car or something towards the late stages of the race. So will Wow be able to create a 9-second gap, considering how close they were this whole race? It already seems like Wow has managed to gain a bit of a gap. He has so much ERS to play with. He is under-fueled his car, though, as we can see by that little yellow fuel tank logo. But I believe Yasin's actually fallen out. No, he's just about in the DRS. But Yasin really needs to push now, because it's getting quite risky where he is. He's just over 7/10. But in the S's, we do see Wow is actually quicker. But I don't know if he's quicker because he's corner cutting or something. Wow, using as much of the track as he can. It didn't seem like he was cutting any corners there, but he loses the back end there going through that tight left-hander. And it seems like these cars have so much grip. They must be running high downforce, or it could just be my spectator cam, which could be bugged. But Yasin's remained in the DRS. He might be a little further back than what he would hope for, but thanks to ERS, DRS, rich fuel mix, slipstream, everything you could possibly want in this game, he will be able to catch up quite quickly. But he hasn't actually caught up but that much. Wow locks up and has allowed Yasin to gain an extra 2/10 at that corner. And here again, seems to be pretty even Steven in between these two. Wow goes semi-defensive through that corner, so interesting to see nonetheless. So we'll use this time to, if I do know that oh, hello, Ruthful. Spoken in the chat quite a while ago. Don't know if you're still there, but if you are, hello. This is what you're missing. Your rival currently is now in a net P1. Then again, he's not really your rival anymore. You've won the championship. So to anyone who's currently watching this, or who will watch this back on the playback later, did you get Formula 1 2020? If so, are you looking forward to it? I know I am. I'm looking forward to the new cars, new traction, new handling, new everything. Because apparently the YouTubers themselves, and I mainly watch TRL Limitless, because he's a league racer. We have the similar driving style, both really aggressive when it needs to be aggressive and defensive when you need to be defensive. And very not consistent results. So he says the handling is much better. So and he says there's more downforce and the traction control feels more like you're running medium traction control, meaning that you have more grip exiting corners. Even in the wets, apparently, it feels almost like you're on intermediate conditions on a dry track almost, which means that it's pretty grippy if you haven't already understood. But ERS, that seems to be pretty exciting. New strategic implement in the game where you say, okay, right, I'm going to use all my overtake. It does have a slight punishment if you use too much of it at once, as your ERS will deplete much longer and will take much longer to recharge. If I do league racing next season, which I most likely do, I'll try and get the Red Bull as soon as I possibly can, because that Red Bull looks amazing. It looks amazing, it sounds amazing, and although they have the same equal performances, I'm sure it feels amazing. Like just the engine sound itself. Like I want something that's not too loud or not too ear-rapey like what the Ferrari is. And again, that has changed in the new game. So coming across here, we'll have to find out penalty situation-wise. I definitely do know WoW has 3 seconds. Yasin only has a warning. But he's already one warning off of getting a 12-second time penalty. So really now WoW is being put under a lot of pressure by the looks of things. Just over 15 laps to go. Still in the DRS. Yasin won't be, definitely won't be losing touch to WoW anytime soon. WoW needs to create a 9-second gap if he wants to win this race. Currently right now, by the looks of things, it seems like he'll drop down into P3. But the auto gamer does have a 3-second time penalty. So right now it looks like WoW will be put into P2 if things were to end now. So I'm going to go off of my nice commentator. Because, as a commentator, you're not really supposed to be rude towards the drivers, but I'm not going to be rude. I'm just going to say this one thing. I do think WoW is very much screwed penalty-wise, because if he keeps this up, he's only going to gain more and more. I think he's just trying to pull away, which is definitely good to see, but he's pulling in, he's pulling out, definitely. Like, we see him pulling out a couple tenths every lap, but, yeah, it's abusive a bit. So we'll go down the back a bit. We'll let these two extend their gap. Maple is close to Futuristic, and GC Fungus is close to Luca. It's good to see the cars going through these quick, twisty turns. It's cool to see the amount of downforce these cars have, because put any other car in their position, no other car will be able to do that. But I do believe Yasin fell out the DRS. He did. So now WoW just needs to improve by another 8 tenths, and then he'll or 8 tenths, sorry, 8 seconds, and he'll win this race. I do believe Luca is letting GC Fungus by. He has. Luca's actually got the rev glitch, so we won't stay on board with him for much longer. Going through the back, we're seeing people push each other. Maple is going around the outside of Futuristic, and Futuristic can only watch his P8 go bye-bye. So Yasin is already falling out of the DRS. He has fallen out of the DRS. So that's not good. If he does get a 3-second time penalty, Yasin, he needs to stay within 6 seconds. And if Wow gets another 3-second time penalty and Yasin doesn't, he'll need to stay within 12 seconds, which is easily doable. 12-second gap really isn't that easy to do. Even if he pulls out a second a lap, he won't be quick enough. Or he will actually, he'll just be shy. But if this lap he doesn't manage, to improve by 1 second, that will definitely mean that Yasin will win this race. Novel Gamer is in a good position as well. He's in a good position for P3. For the win, it doesn't seem that likely anymore. But who knows? This is Formula 1 after all. So we'll look at the race director, see what's going on. Wow, yeah, he's one more warning away from getting another 3-second time penalty. And Yasin has yet to get another warning. So, it's incredible. Wow, it seems to be quick. He's definitely pulling away, but I mean, one more warning, and that's a 12-second time penalty there. And it will only get worse as times go on. Seems to be very close here between the Merc boy of GC Fungus and Luca. So it seems to be pretty stable, this race. The only people who are close to each other is Luca on the back of GC Fungus. Excuse me. Wow, there it is. It's a 12-second time penalty for Wow. So, by the looks of things, we should end the race now. Yasin's won the race. Unless if Yasin spins out completely and kills himself. The Inaudible Gamer is not in contention because he's 10 seconds away and he has a 3-second time penalty. So, as things stand, Yasin's going to win the race. And the Inaudible Gamer might be able to sneak himself into P2 if he manages to catch up a bit. That is. At the back here, we do see him have Hazy, who's very close to Luca, who's already gaining without. Oh, and he's teleported behind. So Luca with a nice gain and nice camera angle. There you go. Goes down the inside, gets his position back. Or does he? Hazy actually sticks it around the outside for this left-hander as well, or right-hander, not left-hander. Gives him the big old squeeze, but Hazy goes down the inside. And Luca will try and get the switch back. Doesn't quite manage to do so. Oh, my game is tabbed out. And I'm back again. So GC Fungus manages to extend, and Luca dives to the pits. I'd say we'll go on the soft compound, and we'll hope for a safety car. Seems to be very laggy indeed. Right, so Hazy seems to be the closest man behind everyone. KK Hunter on those hards will finish in the points, unless if he crashes out, which does not seem likely. Might come out in P9, who knows, but Luca's just coming out in front on softs. So Luca definitely does have some catching up to do, as Fox gets a 3-second time penalty. Hazy is within the DRS range of GC Fungus. He didn't box under VSC, meaning he has 4-lap pressure tires, if you include this lap. So he'll definitely be quicker towards the end of the race. Even now, he's quick. So just 10 laps to go in this USA Grand Prix. Excuse me. Right. So Hazy will want to get the move done as soon as possible, put himself into P4. A good contention for P3 by the looks of things. Hazy's definitely close enough to look for a move down the inside. Yes, see, ooh, he looks for it. He sends a dummy. I don't know if GC Fungus bought it or not. He did scooch his car a bit more to the left. Hazy trying to go around the outside, but GC Fungus seems to have covered that. And I will now run behind GC Fungus going through the S's. So Yasin's starting to lose touch with WoW. So WoW definitely did have the pace advantage, but unfortunately for him, he doesn't have the penalty advantage. Terrible camera angles. Hazy is not close enough. He looks to the inside. He could have went for it, but he chose to not to. So Yasin gets a 3-second time penalty. Oh no. Yasin has a 3-second time penalty. Means he needs to stay within 9 seconds of WoW if he wants to win this race. So for Yasin's sake, I hope that doesn't become a reoccurring thing, because if he gets another one, he'll have 6 seconds sure, but needs to stay within 6 seconds, which is easily doable. He seems to be staying around the 2 second mark, not 2 minutes. So he should easily be able to stay near. But if he does get a 9-second time penalty, let's just say if he does, he'll need to start pushing, because he's just shy of that 3-second gap. So it'll be fun to watch, definitely towards the end. But GC Fungus was a 3-second time penalty. But with 9 more laps to go, and Lucas saying the fastest lap, with 9 more laps to go, it doesn't look like WoW is going to win this race, sadly for him. But who knows, this is Formula 1, anything can change. Anything is possible, as Barbie did say. I don't know why I quoted Barbie, I really feel bad for myself now. If anyone's watching stream, please don't ping me with that clip, because I will want to crash my car into a wall as Hazy goes down the inside of GC Fungus and gets the move done finally. Or does he? GC Fungus gets a better run. Will want to hold around the outside, but doesn't manage to. Tries to get a switchback. Doesn't manage to do that either. Now is really the only opportunity. Now it's going down the inside, and he doesn't manage to do that. So Hazy will keep his P4 for now, and will want to catch up to the Inaudible Gamer as quickly as possible to attempt to sneak himself onto the podium. It would definitely be possible. It's not impossible. Futuristic with a 3-second time penalty. Yes, I'm staying within that 2.5 second mark in between, so he's doing a good job staying with them. But I don't think it's necessary for him to push as much as he's doing now, because he has one more warning after that. So he's at a 3-second time penalty plus 1 warning. So another 2 of those, he has 6 seconds. But it definitely looks like Yasin's gonna come across the line and win this race. Then again, anything can happen. Just over 8 laps to go. Ooh, I actually remembered something. The new tire regulations also for F1 2020, if the season will ever start. It's due to start July 4th. I'm very optimistic for that. Looking forward to that as well. We'll go a bit at the front, or at the back actually I should say, as Maple seems to be very close to Fox. He looks to the inside. Doesn't buy it. But he is practically touching him, going through this tight left-hander. Fox goes wide there, and that's allowed Maple to catch up. Will he be able to go down the inside of Fox heading through his corner? He did try and get out of the slipstream, and he's managed to do that. But the Williams isn't able to catch up to Alfa Romeo, both in real life and in the game. Wow, Maple. Just wow. Okay, no joking. Actually, speaking of wow, Yasin's almost 3 seconds behind wow. Meaning that if he gets 9 seconds, which is not looking likely, but it looks at things, he won't be winning this race, or he will, but he's just a tenth shy of winning. Maple is definitely close enough to look for a move down the inside, heading into the straight. Fox trying to break the slipstream. Doesn't look like it's gonna happen. Yeah, Fox is definitely going left and right, weaving, trying to cut the slipstream. It isn't going to work out for him. He breaks later, and they're practically touching. Well, they are touching going through this corner, and Maple gets the move done on the back of Fox. So good job from Maple. Good to see. Right, so 7 laps to go. 6 laps actually. And Maple, or not Maple, Yasin looks like he's going to win. Oh, and Yasin gets another 3-second time penalty. He's at 15 seconds worth of time penalties. So I don't want to jinx it, but Yasin has won this race. I'm sorry, well, but amount of penalties you've accumulated throughout this race, it's 99.9% chance Yasin's going to win this race, unless if Yasin manages to pull himself a miracle, or WoW gets a miracle and gets 12 seconds, which doesn't seem likely. But yeah, with those 15 seconds, he's staying in P2 at least, because the Inaudible Gamer is 15 seconds away, plus he has a 3-second time penalty. And even if WoW does get another 3-second time penalty, the Inaudible Gamer will finish 650 tenths behind. Oh, he dives down into the pits to try and go on the softs, to try and set a fastest lap. So yes, and now we'll continue onwards. And will his pit crew hold for penalties? No, he's going to keep going. He's put on the softs, and now I'd say he's just going to try and go for a fastest lap. But it'll drop down even more positions if he doesn't manage to go out behind. The Inaudible Gamer is coming out now, and WoW has managed to stay in P2. So really, right now, WoW is going to attempt to try and catch up, and try and build a 12-second gap lead. It's doable, definitely, if you're esports material. WoW, I don't know if he's esports material, but he's already managed to pull a second clear from the Inaudible Gamer just from the S's alone. And the Inaudible Gamer and the SN are on the same tires. Fox hits a 3-second time penalty. So it'll be interesting to see the catch up, I guess, of WoW. He's already caught up 1 second through that first sector. But if he does a second every sector, he'll definitely be in front of him by the end of this race. Will it be enough to get over 12 seconds? That I don't know. He's already gained 2 seconds on Yasin there on those 2 sectors alone. So he's definitely gaining a second every sector, meaning that Yasin, trying to do math here in my head, gains what's 3 seconds a lap basically quicker, and there are just 5 laps left, so 3 times 5, 15 seconds. He won't be close enough to win this race. He'll be 5 seconds clear of him, but he'll need to extend an extra 12 if he wants to win this race. Or no, an extra 6 if he wants to win this race. So he could definitely win this race, wow. And if he does that, he gets my driver of the day. But he is catching up really quickly, like scary quickly even. He's caught up 4 seconds, actually 6 seconds in just a lap. So really my math is completely gone out the window. He's so much quicker, it seems. And Yasin's now, if I was Yasin, I'd be sweating because there's still 4.5 laps to go. If in a lap he came out 15 seconds behind Yasin and is already 9 seconds behind, he's managed to gain 6 seconds in not even 2 laps. And he's only going to lose more and more time, Yasin, because of those mediums are going to die every single lap, and those softs are only going to get better every single lap towards the end of this race. Like, those softs will be the same you see right now towards the end of this race. But as much as it looks possible to catch up, I don't know. He'll definitely overtake him towards the end of the race. But will he be able to extend the gap that he needs? Speaking of gap, let's see Yasin. He has 1 time penalty and just 1 warning, so it doesn't look like he'll be able to get 6 seconds. Whilst it's a fast lap, GC Focus gets a 3-second time penalty. So in 2 laps, he's gained 8 in 2 laps. So in another 2 laps, that means lap 27, he'll be in front, and then he'll have a lap to gain 10 seconds, or 12 seconds even. So unless if he pushes Yasin out and he spins, he gets another 3-second time penalty. That's his chances of catching up completely gone. Now he needs to be 15 seconds in front of Wow if he wants to win, or in front of Yasin if he wants to win this race. So it's looking less and less likely every single lap. But Yasin is seeming to keep his cool, or seems to keep his cool. And he's doing his, just look how slow he's going through these corners. Those mediums are wanting to die essentially. Entering lap 26 in just a quick moment. 3 more laps, wow, and it seems like his catching up has died out. But in just 3 laps, he's gained 10 seconds. So it'll be difficult to see, really. But he can see him. Wow can see Yasin. Is that red car who's right in front of you? He's gonna be. See, Yasin will lose so much time at the first and beginning of second and first sector, especially here. Like, he needs to lift off very early here, and he's basically going snail pace almost for an F1 car going through these corners, especially this long right-hander. It's very easy to lose the back end here as well. But let's just keep an eye on Yasin. He's basically done the corner that Yasin's just done. So I don't think he'll win this race, Wow, considering with the amount of penalties he's had. But if penalties weren't a factor, Wow would definitely be winning this race. It's very interesting to see. But as things stand, Wow will drop down to P5. Maybe even more. Actually, P4. P4, P5, something like that. But he can definitely see him. So we'll look at what Yasin does. He's going half throttle through there. Wow can go full throttle through there. So that's just the pace advantage. But coming across the line in just a quick second, on the penultimate lap, he needs 10 more seconds. Wow does 12 more seconds actually. He needs to basically get in front of Yasin, push him out so wide that he does a semi-spin, and hope that he gets within 12 seconds. Let's just look at penalty wise. Has Yasin gotten another warning? He hasn't got another warning since. Well, can definitely see Yasin. He's a car who's right in front of you. Those tires still seem to be fresh, or fresher, or not fresh, fresher. Yes, fresher than Yasin's tires. It's an intense last couple of laps, I guess. But it's a shame the penalties are a factor, because this would have been such a stressful ending for Yasin. If there were no penalties now, like both of them had 0 penalties, WoW is ahead. WoW might be overtaking him on the last lap. The final lap overtake, it's definitely possible. But he's going none at the straight. So, interesting to see. But Yasin on 20 lap old mediums in just a second. WoW is on 4 lap old softs. And I said that WoW is on 19. Yes, no, I mean Yasin is on 19 lap old softs. But WoW will definitely overtake him after this final lap. That's no doubt. And WoW gets another 3-second time penalty. So that's his race win essentially over. He has 21 seconds worth of time penalties. And I called it at the beginning that he'll get more than 20 seconds. He did manage to get more than 20 seconds. And yes, it just has one more lap to keep it on the track. Because if he doesn't, well, he's going to spin out and he's going to ruin his race. The WoW within DRS now of Yasin. It's really his only bet now is to really crash him out. He used to be 18 seconds clear of Yasin. And Yasin gets, actually, never mind, 18. He used to be 15 seconds clear now. So unless if WoW does the biggest dive bomb on Yasin ever and hits Yasin, well, it's not looking likely at all. But I do believe the Inaudible Gamer might be able to sneak himself into P2. But it's weird. WoW's going none at the straight. And he seems to be low on fuel. Well, they're all low on fuel coming across the final couple of corners now. The strategy call didn't help. I feel like if WoW continued, he might have been able to create a gap and wouldn't be pushing as hard, meaning that he wouldn't get maybe as much penalties. But with that said, Yasin has done great. He's put it on pole position. He's led basically all of the laps to this moment, and he comes across the line to win the United States Grand Prix with WoW in 3rd place, I think. Unless if the Inaudible Gamer is too far. And the Inaudible Gamer sneaks himself into P3. Hazy, with 0 penalties, puts himself into P2. So finishes P4, but really finishes P2. What a race from Hazy. Mad. The Inaudible Gamer sneaks himself onto the podium. WoW drops down to P4. Maple P5. GC Fungus P6. Fox P8. Because of his time penalties. Luca P7. Futuristic will come across the couple corners now to claim P9 or maybe even P8 because Fox did have a lot of time penalties. Comes across the line now, and now it's P9. And now we just went on KK Hunter, who's rounding up the final sector now to claim a points finish. So everyone finished in the points, which is interesting to see. You don't get that too often here at League Racing. But KK Hunter will round up the final turn now, final corner, to claim P10 in this United States Grand Prix. So there's your podium. Yasin in P1, followed by Hazy, sorry, and the Inaudible Gamer, who's put himself once again on the podium. So that's been it for the United States Grand Prix. I'm not exactly sure who my driver of the day would be. I'm gonna have to see what the final standings were and what their starting positions were. Have to figure out. Right, so here we go. Yasin is your United States Grand Prix winner, and Hazy from P9 on the grid finishes P2. and has got 0 time penalties. So yeah, my driver today would definitely be Hazy. He did so good from P9 to P2, acing his way through the field with no time penalties as well, kept his nose clean, and did get a pretty quick lap under his belt. So yeah, that's been the United States Grand Prix here at round 19 SOR. See you next week for Brazil.